All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Kakadash, Kahalal, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, which is to say all praise to the Heavenly Father in the name of His Son. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I also want to give honors to Yakim. That's a pushing hard for Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, and waking up the elect. All right, and also shalom to you, a few sisters, the very few of you who tune in to get edified. All right, and I have right here, this is Biden's, which is the new president, the new CEO. All right, that Esau chose to put in there. All right, and he's going to be the one to bring the end. What I mean when I say that is he's going to bring in one of the major prophecies in the scriptures dealing with the mark of the beast. There's clips and videos of him speaking on it. You could do a simple YouTube search or Google search, and then with his own words, all right, he's saying he wants to do this and bring this out, boldly, just being a bold devil, which lets you know the time that we're in. We're definitely in the end, the end of the end, so I was going to play it, and see what he said. So it's posted today, maybe around, like earlier today. So I'm just going to play it and get a few scripts and go from there.
Transparent so the American people can have every confidence that any approved vaccine is safe and effective. At the same time, it's clear that this vaccine is transparent so the American people can have every confidence that any approved vaccine is safe and effective. At the same time,
which, and you see how he speaks too, how Esau is, man. His words are smoother than butter. He makes you like what he's saying, try to make you see that as pleasing, or see how he's talking, but he's being the devil, man. But he wants to ultimately push this vaccine, which we know through the Operation Warp Speed that was started just a few months ago by Trump, to go ahead and get these vaccines out. It says, it's an article right here. It says Biden team held COVID-19 talks with Operation Warp Speed, drug makers before the election. All right, which is that just happened, last week. Okay, but this is not just recent talk. This is something that's they at least been wanting to do. Okay.
it's clear that this vaccine, even if approved, will not be widely available for many months yet to come. The challenge before us right now is still immense and growing. And although we are not in office yet, I'm just laying out what we expect to do and hope can be done, some of it between now and the time we are sworn in. But so the purpose of this is to let you know what we're going to do once sworn in. And so there's a need for bold action to fight this pandemic. We're still facing a very dark winter.
We all know, man, this pandemic is just a ploy for Esau, man, to bring out his agenda. To this day, I don't know anybody that knows anybody that has died from this virus. Hey, and if there's brothers out there probably, that do know somebody that got the virus in the past, hey, but Esau is a very deceptive, man. He's the devil.
There are now nearly 10 million COVID cases in the United States. Last week, we topped 120,000 new cases on multiple successive days. Infection rates are going up, hospitalizations are going up, deaths are going up. This crisis claimed nearly 1,000 American lives a day, and nearly 240,000 deaths so far. The projections still indicate we could lose 200,000 more lives in the coming months before a vaccine can be made widely available.
Which is, it's which is when they talk about these numbers, like they're going up and they're going up. It's basically just trying to put fear into the people, like, oh, okay, we gotta do something. The pandemic is getting worse.
So we can't forego the important work that needs to be done between now and then to get our country through the worst wave yet in this pandemic, to reduce the spread, to save lives. So that's why today I've named the COVID-19 Transition Advisory Board, comprised of distinguished public health experts, to help our transition team translate the Biden-Harris COVID-19 plan into action, a blueprint that we can put in place as soon as Kamala and I are sworn in to office on January 20th, 2021. And we'll seek to add other members to this board during this bring additional important perspectives on public health and expertise throughout the transition. This group will advise on detailed plans built on a bedrock of science and to keep compassion, empathy, and care for every American at its core, making rapid testing widely available, more widely available, much more widely available, and building a core of contact tracers who will track and curb this disease while we prioritize getting.
They're going to track the people. That's their ultimate plan, is to basically track your every move. Is to basically going to have to get permission from him to do things, okay, or to have access to things, and so on and so forth through his this HR bill, which it's not surprising that it's 6666. All right, COVID-19 testing, reaching and contacting everyone, trace. All right, remember that movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise? All right, they so-called stopped the guy from murdering his wife or something. Oh, we gotta track you because you might be a potential threat. Which is how they're gonna push it.
Vaccines first to the most at-risk populations, developing clear and detailed guidance, and providing the necessary resources for small businesses, schools, child care centers to reopen and operate safely and effectively during the pandemic, protecting both workers and the public, scaling up productive life-saving treatments and therapeutics, and when it's ready, making sure an approved vaccine is distributed equitably and efficiently and free for every American.
And it was Trump, he said that he wanted to do that with the military, right? He wanted to use the military to get this vaccine out. It's not even going to be more with Biden.
If cases rising once more, it's imperative that we ramp up our production of personal protective equipment to make sure our brave healthcare workers have what they need to do battle safely against this virus. We're going to get states, cities, and tribes the tests and the supplies they need. We're going to protect vulnerable populations who are at risk, most at risk from this virus, older Americans, and those with pre-existing conditions. We're going to address the health and economic disparities that mean this virus is hitting the Black, Latino, Asian American, Pacific Islanders, Native American communities harder than white communities. Focusing on these communities is one of our priorities, not an afterthought. Black, Latino, Asian Americans, and those with pre-existing conditions. We're going to address the health and economic disparities that mean this virus is hitting the Black, Latino, Asian American, Pacific Islanders, Native American communities hard.
That's what it's all about, man. Coming after you, Jake. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. You Israelites, man. you know, and I'm about to give a script, okay? This is Revelation 12, verse 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time." Right, man. He knows. Esau knows. Okay, going um, up to the least, they know they have but a short time, man, to do their little, to try to push their new world order. All right, because when this work started coming out, it wasn't that much long ago. You know, when he's seen, you know, uh, um, our elders, teachers, right, starting with Albert Bivens. All right, you had King Marshall. All right, Oda Ariad. You know, when he sees this, and you know, when 2007 hit, when the apostles got on YouTube, man, Esau really, that really shook him up, man. Like, oh shit, fuck, man, we gotta get rolling, you know. And he knows that he has but a short time, so he's gonna come down and he's gonna try to do as much as he can, man, with this little window, you know.
Than white communities. Focusing on these communities is one of our priorities, not an afterthought. The bottom line, I will spare no effort to turn this pandemic around once we're sworn in on January 20th. To get our kids back to school safely, our businesses growing, and our economy running at full speed again, and to get an approved vaccine manufactured and distributed as quickly as possible to as many
Hey, man, Scripture said Most High made medicines out of the earth, man. Okay, out of the earth. All right, Most High has given us natural medicines, man. So we don't need your vaccine, so.
Americans as possible, free of charge. We'll follow the science. We'll follow the science. Let me say that again. And we'll adjust to new data when it comes in. And we'll listen and work in cooperation with governors and local leaders of both parties who are fighting this virus in their communities this very day. There is so much good work happening at state and local levels across the country. Governors, mayors, they're stepping up. The advisory board will listen and learn lessons from their experience. And because we know that we won't fully defeat COVID-19 until we defeat it everywhere, my advisory council also includes experts on global health security so that we can restore U.S. global leadership to fight this pandemic. This is a crisis that affects everyone. As I've said throughout this campaign, I will be a president for every American. This election is over. It's time to put aside the partisanship and the rhetoric that designed to demonize one another. It's time to end the politicization of basic responsible public health steps like mask wearing and social distancing. We have to come together to heal the soul of this country so that we can effectively address this crisis as one country where hardworking Americans have each other's backs and we're united in our shared goal, defeating this virus. As we work toward a safe and effective vaccine, we know the single most effective thing we can do to stop the spread of COVID is wear a mask. The head of the CDC warned this fall that for the foreseeable future, a mask remains the most potent weapon against the virus. Today's news does not change that urgent reality. I won't be president until January 20th, but my message today is to everyone is this: it doesn't matter.
With Facebook Shops connecting people.
Doesn't matter who you voted for, where you stood before Election Day. It doesn't matter your party, your point of view. We could save tens of thousands of lives if everyone would just wear a mask for the next few months.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, Verse 10, it says, never trust thine enemy, okay? For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. All right? Never trust thine enemy. At no time in the past or future, definition for never, on no occasion, not ever. All right? Never trust thine enemy, man. And best believe, man, he looks at this, uh, Biden looks at you, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans as enemies, man. That's why he said he wants to, it's a priority for him to come after you first, you know? Time of Jacob's trouble.
Not Democrat or Republican lives, American lives. You know, maybe we'd save the life of a person who stocks a shelf at your local grocery store. Maybe it saves the life of a member of your place of worship. Maybe it saves the lives of one of your children's teachers. Maybe it saves your life. So please, I implore you, wear a mask.
Next verse, he says, though he humbleth himself in this devil, look how he's talking, man. Trying to win you over with that, trying to act humble and shit, man, like he cares and shit. And that's it's the contrary. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away, man. Right, you're gonna see that devil come out, man, and soon he's gonna really just let you know, hey, he's gonna let them horns show, you know.
Do it for yourself. Do it for your neighbor. A mask is not a political statement, but it is a good way to start pulling the country together. I want to be very clear. The goal of mask wearing is not to make your life less comfortable. It's to take something away from you. It's to give something back to all of us, a normal life. The goal is to get back to normal as fast as possible.
I might as well get it. Might as well. Yep.
Our constitutional journey did not stop then, and it must not stop now, Judge. And we'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that. And Judge, I need to know whether you will be a justice who believes that the constitutional journey must continue to speak to these consequential decisions, or that we've gone far enough in protecting against government intrusion into our autonomy, into the most personal decisions we make. Judge, that's why this is a critical moment. There are elected officials in this government, such as Mr. DeLay, a fine, honorable, patriotic man, and others, who have been unsuccessful of implementing their agenda in the elected branches. So they've now poured their energies, as the left would if it were different, they've now poured their energies and resources into trying to change the court's view of the Constitution. And now they have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Oh man, and he's gonna go balls to the wall, man, with this opportunity, man, with him being in the.
And masks are critical in doing that. It won't be forever,
That's what he wanted us to
but that's how we'll get our nation back up to speed economically.
You know, you see what's going on in Sweden, all right? How they didn't go under a lockdown, okay? So this is how he's gonna get you to go back into so-called normal, which is not. All right, nothing's going to go back to normal.
So we can go back to celebrating birthdays and holidays together. So we can attend sporting events together. So we can get back to the lives and connections we shared before the pandemic. It doesn't matter whether or not we always agree with one another. It doesn't matter who you voted for. We are Americans and our country is under threat. And now we're now called to do the same thing that generations of proud Americans have done when faced with a crisis throughout our history. Rise above our differences to defend the strength and the vitality of our nation. You know, that's the character of patriots. That's the character of Americans. We have to do this together. Wearing a mask may seem like a small act. Maybe you think your individual choice won't make any difference. But throughout our history, throughout the history of our nation, we've seen over and over how small acts add up to enormous achievements. It's the weight of many small
enormous achievements.
acts together that bend the arc of history. You know, I know there's nothing the American people can't accomplish when we work together as one people with one mission. We can get this virus under control, I promise you. We can rebuild our economy back better than it was before. We can address race-based disparities that damage our country. It's in our power. So let's wear a mask. Let's get to work. Thank you. May God bless you. And for all those who've lost somebody, our heart goes out to you. We know what it's like. Our heart goes out to you. May God protect our health workers and our healthcare workers and all Americans. Thank you.
Where I'm gonna get the Book of Psalms 5. Psalms 55 and 20. It says, "He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but woe was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." Okay? So he's speaking smoothly as if him going forward with this contact tracing, all right, making it a priority for you Jakes, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, for you to get this vax, and he's painting it as a good thing, as in you know uh, the storm's gonna pass once you know agree with him, all right. But it says, yet were they drawn swords, right? Yet were they drawn swords, yet he still sought to take you down, man. All right, because that's in his heart. Okay. And I'm gonna get to finish it off in the Book of Maccabees, first chapter. This is the Book of Maccabees, chapter 1. This is First Maccabees 1, and starting at verse 29. Right, this is dealing with the abomination of desolation when you know from when Alexander the Great passed away. He had his kingdom was split up, and evil was multiplied upon the earth. Dealing with once they came into power, or once they started to rule, a whole bunch of wickedness started to happen, man. And dealing with Israel, man, they started to do very abominable things, man. They started to put their gods in our temples, man. They was killing Jake, you know. But I'm gonna get to the point. This is First Maccabees 1, verse 29. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute into the cities of Judah, who came into Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. Okay? Remember in Sirach 12 and 10, never trust thine enemy. Okay? But when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. That's right, man. That's why you got our people all into this voting as if it's going to do something, man, which it never did and it never will. You know, you think you're doing something good, but really you just you're asking for your destruction, man. You're asking for this devil to come upon you, man, with a sword. It said, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. When they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore, okay, and destroyed much people of Israel, okay. When he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. And it says, but the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle, okay. So this is what he wants to do, man. They're going to do it through this house of Jerusalem bill, okay. He's going to do it through this, or which is the same thing, you know. And he's, again, the video of him talking.
Our constitutional journey did not stop.
You know, so all was deceit, man, and you know, leave it off with this. It says Psalm 62. Psalm 62 and 10. Trust not in oppression, become not vain of robbery. If riches increase, and not your heart upon them. All right, so Jake's out there, man. Don't trust in this place, man. Don't trust in this system, man. You know, no matter how smooth you talk, remember that there's deceit in those words, man. You know, so with that, this just shows you, man, this what time that we're in, man, is very crucial, man. So, yeah, stay strong. You know, say shalom. Giving all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem outside, Bashem Pakadash. And of course, double honors to the apostles and elders of great mills on the RC Yakin, pushing for Yahweh Bashem outside, waking up the elect. Okay, shalom.